Bladesingers, Mitch, Bladesingers are masters of tradition of wizardry that incorporate swordplay and
What are you telling me?
dance.
I know what a Bladesinger is. I'm a fucking Bladesinger. Wah!
Mitch, so bladesing to me is it's elegant. It's dancing through. It's channeling everything through the blade. You are this is the Gish player. So Mitch, what are bladesingers to you?
To me, while I love to picture singing in the rain,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say it's a mix of beauty, balance, power, ferocity.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically Dwayne the Rock Johnson in the game plan,
Okay.
where the whole football team gets together and do ballet. It's just a fantastic scene. These massive dudes are going Bladesinger.
Cool.
How about yourself?
Yeah. Once again, I even see it as the martial equivalent of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, where I think one stole the sword and they're fighting through bamboo. It's that light-footedness swinging through. I mean, it's missing magic, but yeah, it's that sort of very you're in tune with everything, and you're kind of that dex-based martial. But now you're also Gish. So at second level, you get training in war and song. Do you want to take us through what exactly do you get out of second level there?
Well, the one thing you definitely get is gypped because
Gypped.
yeah, when you adopt this tradition at second level, you gain proficiency with light armor. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Proficiency with one type of one-handed melee weapon of your choice. Doesn't have to be a sword. Great.
Mhm.
However, you also gain proficiency in the performance skill if you don't already have it, which most likely you would have taken it, and there's no substitute. You know how that we've been seeing a lot of if you already
Yeah.
have that,
Yeah.
choose another?
I know. I see that. Well, you could also play it like you try and perform, you're just no good at it.
Taking on to the next second level ability you get, which is
Bladesong. Oh my lord. Here we go. Ready. This is it. This is the thing. So, starting at second level, you can invoke an magic called the Bladesong. Provided that you aren't wearing medium or heavy armor or using a shield, it graces you with supernatural speed, agility, and focus. Now, as a bonus action, you can kick this Bladesong on, which lasts for 1 minute. It ends early if you are incapacitated, if you don heavy or medium armor, shield, if you use two hands to make an attack with a weapon, and you can also dismiss it at any time, no action required. But let's talk about what you get. While your Bladesong is active, you gain the following benefits. So you gain a bonus to your AC equal to your intelligence modifier, minimum 1. That's fantastic. Your walking speed increases by 10 feet. Another fantastic little bonus there. You gain advantage on dexterity acrobatics checks. Cool. That's not proficiency, that's advantage. And you gain a bonus to any constitution saving throw you make to maintain your concentration on spell, and the bonus is equal to your intelligence modifier. Now, how many times a day can you do this? Equal to your proficiency, and you regain it all after a long rest. So, wow, that's so much.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
That is Bladesong. You're doing. We've argued about this before. You are doing this right from the get-go. This is an ability that comes straight in and will cover you for the rest of this subclass, and you are doing it right from the get-go.
100%. I love the idea of people getting into rhythm. This is the equivalent of the barbarian going into a rage, except this is your song. Extra attack. First problem is that it's called extra attack, which is extremely similar to the ability of the fighter ranger paladin, extra attack, which will lead to confusion. The big differences are this one you get at level 6 rather than at level 5. And also, while you can attack twice per whenever you take the attack action on your turn, with this one, you can cast one of your cantrips instead of one of those attacks. So that's one.
Mm.
So for this, you would choose Booming Blade, Green Flame Blade, these ones that have a melee action, melee blade attack.
Mm-hmm.
But you could choose other ones as well, like Blade Ward, to get resistance to some bludgeoning damage.
I also see the opportunity that you stab someone, they die, you look across the battlefield and you cast a range spell and hit someone way over there. So I don't see. I don't think you're going to limit yourself to just the melee cantrips with this either.
Yeah, it is. It is an ability to do. Also, at no place there does it say that you have to have a cantrip cast that is 6 seconds. That takes one action. So this might be something you can actually mix up with an artificer and then cast mending in place of one of those attacks. Does that sound like a workaround? Does that sound like a workaround? Is that a bit dodgy?
You have a autonome or a battlesmith's companion in the group, or a eldritch cannon. You could just lean over and give it a mend spell, which will give it some of its hit points back. So if you're looking at group synergy, this is a great win. Song of Defense. So, beginning at level 10, you can direct your magic to absorb damage while your Bladesong is active. When you take damage, you can use your reaction to expend one spell slot and reduce the damage to you by an amount equal to 5 times that spell slot's level. So you get hit with use a level 3, 15 hit points are taken off. Is this good, Mitch?
Yes. This is better than most people think it is. This is one that if you have a big spell up and you take a lot of damage, so you've cast a spell, you've got the BBFG held down, dead to rights, and there's a caster comes out of nowhere and hits you with a giant spell to try and make you drop your concentration. You can use your reaction and expend a big spell slot and reduce the damage down. So it might have been 60. You use a level 5 spell slot, a level 6 spell slot, 7. Let's say 7. 7 times 5, 35.
Depending on what
25.
level you're using it, yep.
Half of 25. You've only got to roll a 13 now with your advantage that adds your constitution, intelligence to your constitution save and throw. So you can make that save. It was impossible before.
Yes.
So that's actually huge.
That's its big advantage. Its disadvantage is it uses a reaction, which means no shield. It means no absorb elements. So you need to know which one's going to be better for you.
Okay, next up, Song of Victory. The most essential song. Starting at 14th level, you can add your intelligence modifier to the damage of your melee weapon attacks while your Bladesong is active.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is actually pretty big.
Okay, agree to disagree.
Yeah, I didn't think so. This is pretty big, but for 14th level, it's not very big. So everyone, if you've got both those up, your intelligence and your dex both up towards 20, every single hit you make is dealing a minimum of 10 plus your damage die, plus then your cantrips on top of that. So it's going to all add up.
I honestly think at 14th level, you've probably started moving away from using your weapons and gone back to your spells. Looking at the whole class as it goes, I think Bladesong is fantastic and lots of fun and lots of flavor, and would definitely differ your wizard from your last wizard. Very different. You're going to go in this with a different plane. But I do think after it gets to a certain level, where you start getting level 5 spells, your spells do way more than stabbing someone. Even if you boost it up with all the little cantrips and bonuses and all the little upcasts and things like that, I think it's just better just to use Hypnotic Pattern or something else that's going to do a whole nother ability. So I think this is going to be a class that changes from what it started at the first to second tier, and then by that time, end of the second tier, I think you're going to progress away from. I mean, it's very handy to still bust out your AC and to do an extra few things to still use your Bladesong. But I think your character is going to transition as they go through the campaign, assuming you go through all the levels.
So, while it is true that the damage isn't as high as your spells, a wise man once said that the greatest warrior's sword rusts in his scabbard. So, while you are reasonably powerful in close, you could be using your Bladesong to move faster, your advantage on dex checks, acrobatics to get out of grapples. Your AC is higher, so you can be running away, maintaining your constitution saving throws, casting spells, and then when they finally corner you, that's when you go on the offensive with the sword. When you've used all your spell slots and they're weakened, and then you can get the cinematic Bladesong
Yeah.
style victory. So, cinematically, possibly one of the strongest classes in the game.
We do love Gish players. Like, there's something about them that just makes them fantastic because you can do everything. You can do it all.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're amazing.
Hey, so if we're going to play this, are there any particular spells you think are worth keeping an ear out for when running this class, Mitch? What, as you go through your levels, what do you reckon are spells that you are likely to keep an eye out for and try and make sure they're on your spell list?
Yeah, well, I gotta say, I can see your list here, and I nailed those cantrips at the start. I even remember Blade Ward. Hell yeah, baby. But no, the big ones that you're gonna be looking at is Blur, Misty Step, Mirror Image. Mirror Image is a huge one.
No concentration. Yeah, fantastic.
No concentration, and then the fact that when it does, like, you basically get 2 free saves, which is just each one of those could be 40 damage you didn't take. And then when they finally hit you, you can use your Song of Defense and reduce it down again. So it's pretty amazing. Shadow Blade's huge. Shadow Blade is absolutely huge, especially in darkness, getting that advantage. And if you are an elf and take an elven accuracy, that can also be part of your crit fishing build. How about yourself? What are you looking at?
Hey, so I think this one's greatest advantage is that you're going to some bad guys come running out of the forest. You're going to hit them with a fireball and start your Bladesong. So you're down one of your reasonable spells. Then after that, you come leaping in as as you share the distance. You're going to get a concentration spell going.
Yeah.
Some sort of control, some sort of damage, some sort of haste, some sort of slow, something, while you then start doing a bit of stabby damage and a few cantrips around the place and mixing it up. So what you're going to do is you're going to come out of fights with having cast less spells. Your concentration's better. You're using other abilities that aren't necessarily. And then when you run out of bad guys, it doesn't mean you can't turn around and instead use your action to cast a spell and then come dashing back in with your sword. So I think it gives you more options, and you're going to come out of this with having cast less spells at the end of the day. So it's going to give you more options. These are some feats and some abilities you should be keeping an eye out, even if you're just going to go straight wizard. So I wouldn't mind just saying, like, tough could be handy if your stats are looking good already. Warcaster is fantastic, or was it resilience, constitution to get those saves going, whichever way you want to go about getting it. And then it's whatever one you need to you can even pick up those fighter initiate ones to pick up dueling, defense, blind fights. You go crusher, piercer, slasher, mobile. There's so many little feats there you could pick up. How do you reckon you'd play yours? With any of these?
For me, feats with this one, I'd be looking straight at Eldritch Adept and Metamagic Adept.
Yep.
These things are really overlooked, and I'm a big fan of trying to hold that card up the sleeve so you can pull it out and really annoy the hell out of the DM. So a good example is with your Metamagic Adept, you take the meta magic that allows you to extend your range,
Mm-hmm.
and when somebody casts a spell, you're 90 feet away, you cast a counter spell. The DM's like, I counter spell, you counter spell. I'm like, you can't. Your range is 60 feet, mine's 120, suck a dick. It's a real good feeling when you can do that. But the Eldritch Adept, getting that Devil's Sight, getting all sorts of basically anything that doesn't work with the Eldritch Blast. But there's so many little spells you can add to your abilities. And I think it always adds a bit of flavor. Like a touch of Warlock never hurt no one.
So cool. So cool. What do you like and what don't you like about this? What really fucking goes well for you?
To tell you what I don't like about this,
Mhm.
I think the best way to say is at level 14, having, let's say, intelligence modifiers +5, adding that to each of your weapon attacks is a maximum of 10 damage per turn, which I kind of can only explain that in this way. Like, incredible. Incredible.
Cool.
The things I like about it, it's very stylistic, and I love the way they weave the cantrips in. I love this whole class, apart from the 14th level ability. It just not very incredible.
Mm.
How about yourself? Where's it fall flat for you?
Song of Defense, I think, may not be as optimal as what it might seem to begin with. Feels like it's not quite enough. But as you pointed out, like when it really counts, that's when it'll be. I just hope it isn't that often. You got to remember, you still have low hit points. You are a wizard, so be aware. Other Gish builds might be better out there, but this is all in one package, and you don't have to scour the internet looking for all the ins and outs. You could just play this one, and it'll see you good all the way through, giving you level 9 spells if you go that high, so it will not stop any of your spell progressions. Particularly if you're thinking multi-classing and just sticking with this. At low levels, I think you can have a lot of fun. Dashing in and out, using a mixture. I think that's the real key. A mixture of both melee and spell attacks. And as I said, I wouldn't just sit there, just keep spamming the same thing. Blade wash, yeah, blue, green, same blade, blah, blah, blah. And just doing that same thing over and over again. It may be the most optimal, but it's going to be boring. Like, you don't just want to run up and hit something. You have a full pro forma and you read a script every time it's combat. You want to have some fun. So try some different spins and see what some of the spells do.
I'm with you in that, but
mhm.
let's admit, running up and hitting stuff as a barbarian is a lot of fun.
It is nice to see big numbers. Right. What do you reckon? How would you play your Bladesinger? What is your character concept, Mitch?
I think I've decided, all right, so between the Tap Dogs and the Irish Dancing, being Australian, I have to go with the Tap Dogs. And the first feat that I'm taking is going to be Tavern Brawler, as I go around and turn the entire bar into my own personal musical instrument.
Cool.
And start using pool cues and pool balls and schooners and everything I can find, and turning that into my melee weapon for Bladesong.
Nice.
And then throwing in some grapples while we're there.
Oh, very different.
Well, you got to go the Tap Dogs, man. How about yourself? What are you going?
I love the idea of a centaur being a Bladesinger. I love him prancing through the forest because I just see him as not a very dexterous race.
Listen.
And the extra 40 feet of move, the charge, it could be fun to come charging in with your swinging your sword. Carrying on.
Now, listen, do you want to come charging in, or do we want to combine our ideas and have you come tapping in Michael Flatley style as a centaur?
I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Be unreal.
Sticking with that story, I do see the Herringgong with the bonus to initiative and your rabbit hop for getting out of combat without taking attacks of opportunity. You pair that with is it your booming blade, and you're doing some cool stuff. Player tips, Mitch.
I especially love the singing part of it, and if you don't bring the singing to the table, I think everyone at the table is missing out. So I would say have a bit of a think about what type of person you want to be. If you want to start singing some Akadaka to try every time you go into a Bladesong, I think it could really become a thing and you could have a lot of fun with your friends at the table.
Yeah,
Like if it's your first chance of role playing, a song that you're confident with and just leaning into it, you're going to have a ball.
yeah, volunteer to be the guy who looks after the music for all the fights.
Hell yes, that'd be so good. I want to play that now. Just mine 100% would be Thunderstruck. Like it amps people up.
So, players. I think there's 3 ways to play your Bladesinger. I don't think they're exclusive. I think you could switch between them between fights. I see the one where you throw the big spell and then you come diving in and clean up whatever's left. I see the one who does a whole bunch of power-ups and then goes running into melee. And I also see the one that stands back and just flings spells. If anyone happens to come close, you flick them. So I wouldn't necessarily build it around just being one. Why not be more versatile and be able to do and have more interactive combats? I think, as I was saying, your use of spells and your bonus to concentration should mean spells last longer, so you use less of them a fight. And you can only use 2 to 3, depending on shield and some other little buffs as you require them, counterspell and such. So you might use less because you can rely on that melee weapon, getting more out of your day. But realize you only get so many Bladesongs a day. You also will need to weigh up the spell damage versus the melee damage, and know that melee damage might be a substitute for every second round, just so you're not burning through too many spells in a more of a survivalist style game. Make sure you've got a ranged cantrip, because you might stab someone and then they die, and then you've got no one near you. You might have used all your movement, and someone over there, you can still hit them with a firebolt. So I wouldn't miss out on doing something like that. What do you reckon? Should DMs do anything to help prep and to give these Bladesingers their moment, Mitch?
I'm going to combine my final player tip with my DM tip, because there is one thing that should be done for a Bladesinger. This is going to come unstuck. Like, it doesn't matter that much, but mechanically it does kind of mess the game up, because you'll realize after a battle that you screwed up. I would make a little token. And on one side, I'd print like a cardboard token or a plastic token on a 3D printer. On one side, you have a beautifully pictured elf dancing. And your character dancer, you can do some character art, and on it you have your AC, your new walking speed, plus advantage dex acrobatics. You have everything, the Bladesong active, and then you flip it over, your AC in that without Bladesong active. It's one of those things that if you have a visual indicator on the table, you'll remember. And if you don't, because there'll be times where you get hit and you look up at D&D Beyond or your character sheet and you'll be like, yeah, that hits me. And then like 30 minutes later, you'll say to your DM, actually, that wouldn't have hit me because I was Bladesing. So my AC was actually 19 now. And then the DM has to do mental gymnastics to try and work out what to do. How about yourself? Do you think a DM should step in and do some things?
I think
The answer is
potentially.
yes. Always yes.
Yes. DMs always should try and incorporate what they can. I remember now, you're now in competition for the group for equipment. Magic swords and +1 light armor is now on the cards for the mage as well. So be aware when you give the group +1 light studded leather for the rogue, the wizard might be arguing that they need it too. So be aware of that. Another one to make it give the Bladesinger their moment might be to incorporate some sort of one-on-one challenge. In which case, there are 1 or 2 classes out there where they use their charisma to add to their attacks and their damage in some sort of duelist style way. In which case, it'd be great to then see the intelligence blades that come, intelligence versus charisma, and they challenge each other. That would be a very cool rival to have that keeps popping up in towns and wanting to challenge the wizard because they've got charisma, and charisma is the best way to win, not intelligence. And same if you really want to scare them. Once they activate that Bladesong, so when they go into a fight knowing it's happening, yeah, cool. Scare them by hitting them every now and again when they don't have it running, and that will frighten the bejesus out of them, and they'll quickly activate that Bladesong before they go too far.
100%. Yeah, and that having that big token will make it easy to know when to attack.
Everyone can see it on the table. It's a good idea.
Just on that whole balancing subclasses that do stuff, the Mercy Monk is very similar to this because this one gets a buff to its AC. The Monk's AC is based on its Wisdom and Dex, so it's kind of like a buff.
Yep.
Then you've got the Mercy Monk can add their Wisdom and their Dex to the attack. So like there's all these things that line up, and then I think they can also make things miss, and they've got all their on hit damage as well. So it's kind of interesting. And then I'd actually really like to see like a battle between the Bladesinger with the Mercy Monk trying to heal them. The Mercy Monk's trying to punch him to heal him, and the Bladesinger's like, fuck off. That'd be a very interesting. You can't touch me. I know you're trying to stun me. I'm not. I'm trying to fucking heal you.
Cool.
I can't like that. But no, awesome, man.
Very nice.
So that's the end. It just abruptly ends. It's very short.
It does. We wrap it up there. That's DM Tips. It's all done. Thanks for joining me on this one, Mitch. She's a good class. She's an interesting class, and
like
we haven't
Denny
touched on
DeVito,
wizards
it's
yet.
magic and it's short.
We haven't done wizards yet, so hopefully the order of scribes won't be too far behind this, and we only have a few left on Tasha's Cauldron before we are done. So if anyone is still listening to the end of these videos and is interested, we need to know what to do next. Do we pick our favorite classes? Do we go back to another book and just knock all the ones out of that book? Or do we go to the most popular classes on and do them and reverse reactive, go down the list from there?
I think you should do character builds and fight each other.
Character
builds. Which one's better?
Where did that come from? Cool. Thanks for joining us, Mitch. I will see if I can get this one edited up in time, as I've got a bit of a regular schedule going at the moment. And
I do apologize for my voice being a bit off. I've been a bit crook. The whole of Newcastle is crook, apparently. This is crazy.
Crazy.
I've been getting calls every single day from people I've been associating with that are COVID-filled.
Yeah. Good thing it ain't up here.
It's been absolutely lovely, man. It's good to hear your voice again. And let's stop the recording so we can start sending sexy pictures.
No worries. Catch you later at the gaming table.